Today I'm making gloves, kind of like this, except they're going to be super warm, furry winter gloves. I'm going with the two-finger design because it's a little bit warmer when you have, your finger next to the other one. They can kind of keep each other warm. But I didn't want to go with the mitten style because then you have no manual dexterity whatsoever. Alright, so I've already traced the subject's hand, which is right here. Obviously, it's not my hand. For the glove design, the palm part has to be a lot thinner than the back part. Alright, so the front and the back of the glove are different. Because when you put your hand out like this, it's pretty much the same on each side, but your thumb doesn't go this way, it only goes this way, right? So you want the glove to wrap more around this way so your thumb can move more easily. So, as you can see here, the glove is a lot thinner on this side than it is on the other side, and the back part actually wraps around to the other side. See? Now the other thing you have to take into consideration is for the individual fingers, this side also has to be a lot thicker to wrap all the way around the fingers. And when I do the pattern, it'll make more sense, but you have to put a seam here so that you can get this, otherwise this would end up bunching up. But it'll all make sense soon. Here's what I'm using to make my gloves. It actually used to be a leather coat at one point in time. Now for the palm of the hand, that's this side, I'm basically just going to trace out what's around here, but make it a little bit thicker so there's space to sew. And I'm going to make this part, the wrist part, maybe an inch wider than it is here, because you have to be able to slide your hand in and out of it, so you have to make sure that part's fatter. So here it is traced out, and it doesn't really matter how far down here you go. That'll just be how far it goes up your wrist. I just went a little bit around everything to make it a bit fatter everywhere. Except right in here, I wanted to make sure I got right in the nook so that it actually fits, kind of tight in there. Not super tight, but... Now let's cut that sucker out. Yay! Oh, there's a sticker on it. Okay, since I'm making a pair of gloves, every time I make a piece, I'm going to make another piece, except I'm going to flip it over so it's like a backwards of what it is, because the leather's not the same on both sides. Two palms. This is where it starts getting a little bit tricky. Remember, I was saying for the back of the glove, you want the fingers wider, and you want the glove wider on this side so that the thumb wraps around. So I'm going to trace, I'm only going to do this half of the glove. This part here isn't going to count right now. So I'm going to trace this around, and I'm going to move this over and just make it all fatter, and you'll see in a second. Okay, a bunch of nonsensical lines everywhere. Now where you start is right in the crack between the gloves. You want that to match up on both sides. And then if you fold the glove in half, you see there's a line I put right there. That's going to be the seam that's down the back of the glove. I don't know if you can see it. There, that one. And then you come out and then make a fatter finger, but don't make it any longer, because you want, when you stitch it together, you want it to still match up. And then you come down here and make sure this is fatter, and you can see the crack down here is lined up beside each other. And then to get the thumb, I just moved it over, lined up the crack again. And actually, if you tip the thumb out a little bit, it makes it wrap around better. So just tip it out a little bit. And then, make it like half an inch fatter down here. Okay, we still have our two palms, of course, and now two back pieces, backhands. Now we have to make the other side. Compared to the last one, this is a piece of cake. You start in the crack again, and then draw your line out, then go around and make sure everything's fatter, and just go down. There's no thumb to deal with. And the line down the middle is still the same. You fold it in half, and boom, and there you go. Alright, now you've got two palms, two backhand parts, and then two funny looking pieces. Pinky ring finger parts. And I'm also making these gloves fuzzy, so I'm not making the palm fuzzy, but I'm going to make the back fuzzy. So I'm going to take these two and trace them out on some fur. Okay, take the two back pieces of the glove and trace around them, but make them even fatter than these ones, like another, I don't know, 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch. Like a centimeter to my fellow Canadians. Oh, good kitty. Oh my god, I'm getting fur all over the place. But make doubles of those, backwards again. Sweep up furry mess. There, for both hands. Now I'm doing it by hand, which is how I did this other glove. And I'm just going to leave the thread showing on the outside. You can either do it that way, or you can, you know, sew it like this, and then flip the whole thing inside out. And then you won't see the thread, the sewing and the threads. But, you know, it's more comfortable when the seam is on the outside. Ah yes, me needle and thread. Now close these suckers up. This is the side I want on the outside, and I'm going to start right here where it is the important part to make sure it's lined up, and then just over to the end. And because I'm using such thick string, sometimes I have to use pliers to get the needle to come through. Takes a little longer, but I like the thick string because it's tough. Okay, you'll know you have all the right pieces for one glove if you lay them out like this. This is a palm, and these are the two backhands, and these are all the sides that I want facing out. Now the first step is to sew this part together, which I already started doing. See? Very exciting, very exciting. And then do the same thing to this guy. Just sew this part. Those two suckers are sewed together. Now this one I sewed on the outside, but the fur I sewed on the inside because I don't want the threads to show. I just want it to be fur. Now the tricky sewing. Take this so that the inside is facing in. And then take this so the insides are facing together. And now as you can see, they don't line up, so when you sew it you have to like pull it around and make sure you line it all up as you go. And now you can either sew this together and then put the fur on, or you can just take the fur and stick it right on and just start going with all 3 layers and sew them all the way around. And that's how they go. And then when the whole thing is done, you turn it inside out and the fur ends up on the back with the out. Of course, I'm sewing them all together at once. So first, I'm going to take the ends of all the fingers and sew a little spot there, and then sew a little spot at the ends of these ones, and then sew a little spot at the ends of the thumbs, because all those things have to line up, or else the thing just does not come out right. I'm not sure how well this is showing up, but since the fur is actually bigger than the leather parts, you have to bunch up the fur in certain places to make sure that things line up in the right place. So you could look down here between the fingers. You won't be able to see it here, but if you're doing it, you'll be able to, you know, line it up and see how much longer this part is than the leather, and then you could just keep bunching it up until they line up right. That makes perfect sense, right? Phew, that was like an hour of sewing, but looks pretty good. Now I have to turn it inside out. Alright, I better take this off before I stretch it out. That actually came out really well. Hey Shana, what you got there?
I got a furry glove!
Let's see, come closer, because you're not in the light really.
Look, it's furry.
Does it fit?
I don't know. Is it tried on? Oh, it's like doubled. It's like a double glove.
Well, yeah, it has lining.
That's cool. Whoa.
You look like a giant hand person now.
Look, it has fur.
I can only see it when it's in front of you because you have white stuff on and the background's all dark.
Look. Hi. Roar! Macy's stronger. Roar! Look at my furry glove. It's cool. It's like an animal.